The day my wife told me I felt more like a brother than a husband, I didn't know she was already calling another man hers.
I realized something was wrong with my marriage the day my wife Myra looked at me with an oddly distant smile. She told me she needed space to figure out her feelings. I asked her what that meant. She said I felt more like a brother to her than a husband. Her words hit me harder than any argument we had ever had. I just stood there, stunned, trying to understand how years of affection could just shift into something so cold. She claimed she needed emotional clarity. I had to ask her if that clarity involved someone else. She denied it immediately, but her denial came with eyes that wouldn't meet mine. Over the next few weeks, she grew even more distant. Conversations became a chore, and she avoided talking to me unless it was absolutely necessary. She started going out more often, dressing better than she had in years, and hiding her phone whenever I was near. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, I really didn't. I tried to believe her. But trust crumbles when the same patterns repeat themselves over and over again. One night, she came home smelling of a man's cologne that definitely wasn't mine. She just brushed past me, saying she'd been out with coworkers. I felt a knot form in my stomach. Later, when she fell asleep, I did something I never thought I would do. I checked her messages, and what I found confirmed every fear I had. There were texts from a man named Ethan. They weren't friendly or harmless. They were intimate. They talked about secret meetings. They talked about feelings she hadn't expressed to me in years. My chest tightened with a mixture of shock and a strange, painful clarity. I realized she had already replaced me emotionally. I confronted her the next morning. She didn't deny knowing him, but she denied that anything physical had happened. I told her emotional cheating was just as painful. She just rolled her eyes and said I was being dramatic. She said she didn't want to fight, that she just needed freedom. I asked her what our marriage meant to her anymore. She just shrugged and said she didn't know. Her indifference, her complete lack of care, hurt more than the betrayal itself. At that moment, I felt something inside me just shut off. Instead of arguing, I simply walked away. I decided right then that I wouldn't beg for a place in my own marriage. Over the next few days, I focused on myself. I started going to the gym again. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected for too long. I began to feel a strength I hadn't felt in years. One of those friends, Liana, had always been kind to me. We met for coffee just to catch up. Talking to her felt so easy, so calming. She listened without judgment. She reminded me that I deserved real affection, that my feelings mattered. She didn't flirt or push anything, but for the first time in a long time, she made me feel seen. As time passed, Myra barely noticed my emotional distance. She was completely absorbed in her secret texting world with Ethan. One day, she told me she was going out with friends. I just nodded. She asked if I wasn't curious where she was going. I told her she could do whatever she wanted. She looked surprised, almost confused by my calmness. She asked if something was wrong. I looked at her and said, "You've made your choices, Myra, and now, so have I." She didn't know what to say to that. 2 weeks later, I invited Liana over for dinner. It wasn't romantic, just a friendly get-together. But her warmth filled the house in a way I hadn't felt in a very long time. We talked about life, our hobbies, everything and nothing. It was just normal. Later, I posted a picture of us laughing together on social media. It wasn't an intimate photo, just two friends enjoying each other's company. Within minutes, I heard the front door open. Myra was home early. She saw Liana sitting on the couch, and her expression instantly twisted into something I hadn't seen in months. She demanded to know what was going on. I calmly told her that Liana was my friend. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked. I just looked at her and reminded her, "You didn't tell me about Ethan?" She tried to defend herself, saying it wasn't the same. I told her it was exactly the same. "Are you dating her?" She demanded. I said we weren't, but that we were close. Her jealousy flared up in a way I hadn't seen since we were first together. She ordered me to ask Liana to leave. I refused. I told her she lost the right to control my relationships when she started treating me like an afterthought. Suddenly, she was telling me she wanted to work on our marriage. I had to ask her, why? Why did it take another woman's presence for you to finally see my value? She had no answer. She grabbed my arm and asked if I still loved her. I told her that love can't survive in a place where it isn't respected. She started crying, apologizing over and over. But her apologies came too late. I told her I was filing for divorce. Her tears grew heavier, but my resolve didn't waver. "I made a mistake," she cried. I looked at her and said, "I made one too, by staying longer than I should have." She begged for one more chance, but I told her that chances end when loyalty ends. Liana had stepped outside to give us privacy, but her presence had already shown me what real respect felt like. Myra packed a bag and left that night. The moment the door closed behind her, the whole house felt lighter. In the months that followed, the divorce became final. I spent that time healing and rebuilding my confidence. Liana and I grew closer naturally. There was no rush, no pressure, just a genuine connection. She understood my past without judging it, and she encouraged me to move forward with strength. Eventually, we started dating officially. It felt healthy, peaceful, and completely honest. One evening, as I sat across from her, laughing and feeling truly free, I realized something. I had finally chosen a future where love wasn't an obligation, but a gift. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, remember your worth. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. See you next time.